Welcome to the Studio C, where we are learning today more about social media. This is part 3 of our learning to polish up your LinkedIn profile. If you have missed day 1 and 2, you can go to thecommunicationstudio.ca and just join our membership site there. Totally free. We just need your name and email, and you can take in 5 minutes a day or do they're on a bit of a drip, so depending on which classes you go to take, some of them are 1 day, some of them take 3 or 4, but we didn't want people to overwhelm themselves, so they could do one step at a time and really get their profiles polished up and learn how to do social media right. So last year I was talking to a potential client, and he was so sure he didn't need to worry about his LinkedIn URL because nobody else was ever going to take his name there, and he just wasn't worried about his profile. He was a author, so very easy to search because he does have a lot of content out there. But if you haven't taken your name in your URL on LinkedIn, then somebody else can come and take it. And he was so sure because of his unusual name. Like myself, he has a bit of a strange name. I didn't used to have anybody online with the name Anissa, but it's actually very common now. I used to have Anissa at hotmail.com, and there's no way we'll ever get it now. So needless to say, we did a search for his name, and someone had actually already taken it. I have a very well-known friend as well, for example. She has a Greek first and a Greek last name, so very unusual in the spelling. And one of her competition possibly went and took all of her online profiles that she hadn't thought of before she had decided to publish herself and look to make a name, to use her own name as her way of marketing herself online. So to update your LinkedIn URL, it's actually very simple. And I've shown you a picture of what mine looks like, and there's a picture up here as well, what it looks like when it's just the numbers on the end. And for example, if it says you're a communication specialist, and this is something that you haven't updated, it kind of makes you suspicious, or maybe you're just too busy. That's another option. Or just don't know that it's an opportunity that you're missing, because one of the first things that will come up when you Google your first and last name, if you have set up your LinkedIn profile properly and taken your URL, LinkedIn is going to be one of the first things that shows up in Google. Don't ask me about Bing or those other sites, because quite often I do not understand how they are finding things, because it just seems so random. So the goal is to have your country LinkedIn domain name and then your name at the end. Kind of, if you look down in the documentation a little below, or if you're not in our membership site, go to our membership site at thecommunicationstudio.ca, and you can see some of the documentation there. So this URL can be 5 to 30 letters or numbers. It can't have spaces or symbols or special characters. It is not case sensitive, so it is kind of nice. You can do capital J, A-N-E, capital DOE, D-O-E, which is, it does make a domain name just look a little bit nicer. So I have noticed people try and get creative here. Do not use your domain name or anything fancy or a title in this place. You can, I have seen and is acceptable, use if you have like a MD at the end of your name or some documented letters that you need to use, that is acceptable. But it's the only thing other than your first and last name that should go in your main domain URL. So there are still some that haven't got caught out there that are using their personal profile as a business page. If that is you or someone in your company has set it up that way, LinkedIn is very much like Facebook in that you should really have, and they expect you to have, a LinkedIn page, and it can work really well for you. So highly recommend you take your products and your company name and your company logo and get that going, because then all of your staff can connect to it, and it can be a great marketing tool for your company, and especially your sales team. Once they get onto LinkedIn Navigator, you've got ways to connect everybody as well. So again, 5 to 30 letters, no numbers, no spaces, no symbols. What else do you need to know? It's pretty basic. We do have other videos on the how to do this, but we'll post that URL down below as well. It's basically you just click on the little pencil beside your name with the numbers, and then it's going to go to a new window, and in the top right hand corner it's going to just say pick your LinkedIn URL name, and it's going to either accept your name or not. Now if your name is John Smith, you're probably going to have to be creative, come up with a middle name, or the other thing that we have come up with, so our in the Vancouver area, our airport designation is YVR. So one thing that is also acceptable, and sometimes the only thing you can do to make your name recognizable to people in your area, is John Smith, and do those in like capital JOHN, capital S, and then do capital YVR. So we have been getting away with that in some unusual circumstances, but that's really the only excuse that you should be doing something like that. So another thing that sometimes comes up, and I am also guilty, you can sometimes have one or two profiles that are still open. I have one that is open from when I was in my opening a small resort, and I have asked LinkedIn years ago to actually amalgamate the two profiles. I kind of like it. It's a little bit nostalgic for me, but it does need to come down, and I need to go back and see if their help desk is a little bit more on top of things now. But you can very easily ask them, just go to the help desk at LinkedIn, email them, and just say, I need to combine these two profiles, if you don't have access to them. If not, you can just go back and take down those old profiles and just link them to, just have a link to one personal profile. If you have multiple businesses, then you should be showing that off through business pages and you can open up new products within those pages as well. There's lots of ways to do that. So this is just another important piece of your online real estate that you may or may not value right now, but it needs to be taken care of. Give it a polish every once in a while. Come back and check in on your LinkedIn profile, give some other people some kudos and compliment them, and see what they're doing. There's a ton of great information and people writing great articles on LinkedIn. And of course, there's the opportunity for you to write an article and really show people that you are understand your niche really well. So this is Anissa at the Communication Studio. If you have more questions, you are welcome to email me or tweet me at AnissaC, twitter.com/AnissaC, ANYSSAC, and love to chat with you, or you can email us through the website, and we shall talk to you in the next lesson. And don't forget to sign up for our membership site so you don't miss anything, and you can also come back and just have all of these recordings in one place, and there'll be documentation that goes up with them as well. So really easy to always keep up to date. Take care and have a great day.